There's definitely something wrong with my brain health. Nobody will contest that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much for that. Oh. Went in for my knee because it's killing me, and the doctor assured me it's not arthritis, it's early onset rigor mortis.
Oh, my.
But I felt much better about it knowing it wasn't arthritis. Jeez. It's bad when I don't sleep. It's really bad.
Good morning and welcome to the November 26, 2025 Funaway County Accounts Payable Committee meeting. I'm Jim Van Dorn, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, and I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, starting with Dan here on my right, and give your position with the county, please.
Dan Zamolsak, Finance Director.
Deanne Bowens, Court Administrator for Juvenile and Probate Court.
Sarah Likowski, Juvenile Probation Officer.
Kirsten Sarabia, Juvenile Probation Officer.
Kim Murphy, County Administrator.
Matthew Turgeon, the accountant.
Kevin Martis, County Commissioner, Chair of Ways and Means Committee.
Kaden Elliott, Deputy Administrator.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, over here in communications, we have Jen. Okay. So, approval of the, this is the December 11th meeting. Excuse me, I was reading the approval of the minutes. So the December 11th meeting of 2025 of the Board of Commissioners Accounts Payable. So I would ask for approval of the minutes of November 26, 2025.
So move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Administrator Murphy. Is there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We'll review accounts payable vouchers, starting with the listing of 12-2.
I only have one on this first run, and it's on page 2. And again, I'm not questioning the validity, but it's the drug testing, where we buying the drug testing cups. I understand the purpose, obviously. Just strikes me as interesting that that's a purchase that recurs nearly every week, at least on this run. I was curious about it. You think if we're needing that many that often, we'd buy 3 months at a time or something. I don't know if anybody has any insights on that.
I mean, it is related to the drug testing from the grant route. I don't know why they buy it that often and not all at once. I don't know if there's a storage issue or.
Right. That's all. I know it's valid. I was just like,
That's a good.
really every week it keeps showing up almost $2,000. That's a lot of cups. So,
Wonder if it's an expiration problem or something. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. So that's all I had on that one.
Okay, on page 2, I just have a question on the Ramsdale Park, which probably administration staff can help me with, on the construction, the $5,900. So, I take it that was an insurance claim and reimbursable. We had some damage out there?
That's correct. During one of the storms, we had a tree fall on the garage, if you will, of the Ramsdale Park, and that was reimbursed through MMRMA.
That's on the 12-2 run, right?
Yeah, 12-2, excuse me. See if I got others here. Highlighted, okay, on page. Page 6. Question on the public defender cases with Underwood. I mean, it's almost $12,000. Is that more than 1 month? Public defender,
Top of page 6. Twelve two.
It looks like it was 3 cases.
you speak, is this mic on?
Looks like they're different months. I mean, the first item for $8,500 says 4, 5, and 6, which and the invoice is 0630. So I believe that's June 30th quarter. And then the second one says 9 and 10, which looks like that's September and October, and that's invoice or bank account number 10.
Okay, so they're months.
So it looks like it's 2 different cycles that we just got billed late for that.
And they did them on a monthly basis, which
Correct.
making them much larger. Okay.
And it's only a couple $1,000s per case on average when you look at it that way. There's 5 different case numbers.
Okay. On going down on the sheriff's department, unit 2699 Hadbury, Adrian Sign Shop for $24,000 and $24,500. Is that
That's a vehicle upfitting.
with not, that's not just lettering though, right?
No, it's probably more than lettering.
Okay. It's a one-stop shop where they get,
Yeah, they do the entire outfit of the sheriff vehicles.
wondering about
I
that.
believe that's a secondary road vehicle, if I remember correctly.
And then the sheriff's department going down under central dispatch, usage raising center Tecumseh, consumers energy bill $409. Do we use raise, do we have something over there for dispatch?
I remember asking about that. I think it's for one of the towers and,
Oh, is that a tower?
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna have you answer that, but yeah, that we have, it's one of the towers that we have, and it's the utility invoice. Excuse me, for that tower.
Then on page, because Kevin was right, I have all the questions here. On the last page, recharge exchange 10-pound ABC, $156. That's more than one fire extinguisher, I take it. Or is that one fire extinguisher? 18,734, Midwest Alarm Services.
Yeah, I don't know how many that is. I could try to find the invoice for that.
Yeah, it says recharge exchange 10-pound.
Yeah, it looks like one is the way that was invoiced, but you want me to get back with you on that, or you want me
Okay,
to pull that?
I'm just curious. I mean, I don't think it would be for one fire extinguisher, $156, would it? Yeah, okay, Matt, let me know
I
on
would
that. if you
imagine
would.
it's more, yeah.
And then on the last one, on the treasurer's office, we paid Isabella County Treasurer $4,000.
We looked at this last month too,
Yeah.
a couple weeks.
And do you want to talk about that one? So this is part of the class action lawsuit,
Okay,
and
gotcha.
everybody, all the counties are putting in a certain percentage, and ours is $4,000 to help for that representation.
Very good. All the questions I had on that one. So now we'll go to the run on 1211.
Yeah, I have nothing on that one.
What?
Sorry. Well,
He did this intentionally while there's a crowd here that, make me look bad here. Okay, furniture, the first one, furniture for Marie Spear Camp is $7,900. Is that part of the whole
Yeah, that's part of that addition.
thing?
Yeah, that is actually part of like the FF&E furniture for desks, chairs, for staffing and things of that nature, offices and stuff like that, that kind of equipment.
Okay, and so that came out of the whole project of the 21 million. It wasn't come out of another account. Okay,
No, that's correct.
very good. Thank you. I highlighted the salt barn door repair, only because we should probably have a little talk about that. Have you talked to Rob about the salt barn? He says it's deteriorating badly. So we
I
may,
have not heard that yet.
yeah, I was talking to him. I don't know what I was talking about. And I guess I asked him what the building was. I didn't know it was right behind the sheriff's department.
Mhm.
And he said that it's deteriorating badly. I mean, we probably should take a look at that, and if we do have to do something with it, wouldn't it be better to be down with physical resources down in that part there?
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about that to figure out what kind of space requirements he needs, what the costs are going to be. And it should be put on our capital improvement plan for something in the future, but
Yeah.
that, he has not brought that to our attention yet.
Okay. Good. And then on circuit court, I see we reimbursed the judge for $220.
That would be Judge Olsaver. Is that the one you're looking at? That was reimbursement for a conference.
Okay.
He did not attend, yeah.
Running through my list here. Dylan. Might be all I have. Oh, no. On 8 of 14, I take it all the charges with Krieghoff Lunaway at the health department are the project that she got the grant money for.
That would be correct.
Yep.
They will be wrapping that project up in the not too distant future, and I'm sure she'll be bringing photos to kind of show all the improvements that have been made as a result of that project. And then you're going to see them move over into the meeting rooms at the Human Services Building, as that project was approved a couple months ago to move forward. And so once they are done at the health department, we will be working on the meeting rooms over there.
Okay.
Giving them all a good facelift.
Good. Great. On page 10 of 14, Jen Williams had mileage expense for travel of almost $1,165.
That looks like for a date range of about 7 months.
Oh, I see. She just, okay, it's a
Taped
combination.
it all up and submitted it
April?
at the end of the year.
It's terrible when people wait that long on their expense.
Yeah. Good comment, Kevin.
It's like they want the money for what, Christmas?
Christmas.
Right, Christmas card. They got,
Oh,
Right.
people who did that are the lowest.
that's their Christmas savings account, right?
I cannot throw.
And I'm on a serious note, I want to bring forward as we talk about invoices being saved until later in the year. That is one of the reasons yesterday, or excuse me, at Ways and Means and yesterday, we were talking about the year-end accounts payable meeting date. We had originally, I think this group had set it for the 19th. And as you're going through the accounts payable list and you're seeing things like that, we've seen a couple invoices that you have pointed out today where people held them until this time of year to submit all at once. It's those sorts of things that make it very difficult when trying to figure out what our year-end expenditures are going to be, what those costs are going to look like in each of the departments within the county, and being able to estimate what we should be doing any balance adjustment or budget adjustments for to make sure that we don't end up in any sort of deficit in any one area. So that's another reason why, and I think you're seeing that through this group right here, why we wanted to push that out to the 29th. Even pushing it out to the 29th allows staff the ability to understand and have a better grasp of what all expenditures are out there, because quite frankly, they will have to have that finalized just before Christmas in order to be able to be ready for you on that following Monday because of the holidays. However, it gives them a few more days to be able to get those things through that have been posted and get updated. They are still though, because the meeting is on the 29th, and then we are here the 30th, but then we have a holiday, the 31st and 1st. It will still create a lot of work on their part to make sure that all of the things that you approve on the 29th are actually in the system and posted through before the end of the year. So just understanding that it is quite a process, and that's why we're really encouraging the departments to make sure they get all of these invoices in, or if they have any larger expenditures that they've been holding on to make sure that we're made aware of those before the end of the year so that we can bring you the best numbers possible to close out the year.
Well, that's good information. I guess I'd like to know what the corrective action is for those people that are holding invoices, so that we have a rule for the Board of Commissioners. They're not allowed to do that, okay? If it goes longer than 60 days, it has to come before the whole commission to be approved in order to encourage people to pay those bills. So what are we doing with the departments that are, I'm holding those up and not sending them in?
Currently, there's no policy or rule that addresses that. And so I don't know if that's something that at some point through accounts payable, we want to take a look at so that that does assist us better at year end. But right now, although we try to discourage it, we try to say, hey, we need you to get these submitted more promptly. We don't have the ability to say, well, we're not going to pay you for that service or that reimbursement because you held on to it too long.
Yeah, it may be as simple as saying to them, you know, if you hold bills, hold them up longer than 60 days, then the way you get it paid is you come to the accounts payable meeting to present it. And maybe we would encourage them to submit those more on a timely basis. I don't know. It's, you know, you're the ones that have to look at that, and then we have to look at the end of the year. But by the time we get to the end of the year, you pretty well have it all corrected. So it takes up your time. So I mean, we'd be happy to put that on the policies and procedures or rules committee, take a look at it if that's something we need to do. So just let us know.
Yep, we'll look at that internally to see if if we just have some one-offs
Right.
or if it is something that happens on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, if you just have some one-offs, you can tell them, geez, the Board of Commissioners, accounts payable looked at this and they're gonna make you start coming to the meetings.
Yeah,
But we wouldn't necessarily know, like with some of these attorneys that are doing, we wouldn't necessarily know that they have anything until they're ready to submit an invoice, right?
and that's part of the problem. We
Right.
don't know what we don't know. And so, as an example, if somebody wants to submit for mileage reimbursement, if they've been holding it, we don't know that that's out there until they submit it.
But I think, Commissioner, and, you know, if they do submit an invoice, there's gonna be a date on an invoice.
For sure.
So if it's 6 months old.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's something that they don't put a date on, it has to be a case number or something if it's an attorney that tells us when they were doing it. So, okay.
Yep.
Just take a look at
We'll
it. If
take
there's
a look.
something we can help you out with, we'll be happy to address it on the Board of Commissioners, okay?
Thank you.
That's all. I think that's all. Oh, yeah, just fill me in what SET set is, whether we're paying all the townships back for. State equalize something?
Education.
Get to the microphone.
State, I think it's state educational tax. I think
Okay.
That's what it stands for.
Yeah.
Thank you. There were a lot of them, so I noticed that. So that's, any other questions on the run for the 11th?
Commissioner, I do have a comment. I had the opportunity to look up that Midwest Alarm invoice very quickly, and that was for 4 fire extinguishers at the jail, $39 a piece.
Perfect. Okay, don't need to know anymore. Thank you. I thought it was awful expensive big fire extinguisher for $154. Thank you for that, Dan. Anybody else? Any other questions? If not, a motion would be in order to approve and pay the vouchers.
So move.
Support.
Have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Administrator Murphy. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Other business, we have our guest here with us today. So we're going to discuss a little bit about gift cards. So questions, these have come up in the past, and I guess one of my question is that I know Dan's worked with you on this, and I know that you've got some safeguards over there, but that's always a question when you come to the accounts payable and you see a whole page of gift cards going down there. and we're talking about the people's money, we would just want to make sure that there's checks and balances to make sure that, and I understand that a lot of those are grant funded, but understanding that grant funding still the people's taxes money that's coming through the state that's coming to us, so.
Chair, before we get started, and I want to do a proper introduction of Ms. Bowens. I want to point out also that there are grant funds, but it is a 75-25. So 25% is still general fund and 75% is from the grant. So just so there's some clarity there. But yeah, Ms. Bowens has been working with finance and because we have questioned some of these because when you see gift cards, there's a presumption of what they may be. So we've wanted clarity, and as we talked about earlier, going through these invoices, it's important to understand where the taxpayer money is going. And so there's a program that is going on within the probate juvenile court. And I think Ms. Bowens is going to talk a little bit about what that program is and how those gift cards are dispensed, as well as the benefits that they have seen from issuing those cards. So.
I actually printed out a worksheet for everybody, or a one pager that kind of spells all of this out, if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
Under the Juvenile Justice Reform of 2024, it was highly recommended that
Thank
all courts across the state of Michigan and nationally incentivize the juvenile court process and provide incentives for youth involved in the court system to deter some of the juvenile delinquency, to address some of the social determinants of health, and to just really empower and motivate youth in a way that we haven't seen. It was stated to be a best practice, and so the state of Michigan added that component to the child care fund, which is the 75% reimbursable. With the juvenile court, my team and we use discretion on who gets cards, how we give those gift cards out. Obviously, when a young person completes their probation terms and earns their release, we give them a little bit more. We recognize some of their needs. I brought two of my probation officers here. I know we've given some testimonial to how the cards have worked for us and the difference that we've seen. As I've shared with some of you before, in the very beginning, I wasn't on board with it, nor was my team when we was at a conference and we were told, hey, you're gonna, this is best practice. And it's like, wait a minute, we're gonna give cards out to kids that's not listening to us, and we're gonna just say, you get an incentive. However, about 18 months in, 2 years in, we see the impact. We see the difference that it makes. We see how the kids are really trying. We are having less repeat offenders. We have some of our frequent flyers, and that's just what they're gonna do. However, we see the impact that the cards are making. We notice that there's a great need in the time that we're living in right now. A lot of these kids are, they're really working for our approval. They're working for those incentives. They come to our probation department. They're walking themselves to these appointments. They're going. It's ironic how a $15 McDonald's card make an impact. And then we also notice a difference where, a youth that was being violated for not going to programs, it wasn't because he didn't want to go. It was because he didn't have the means to go, which is what made us start buying the cards for gas. And we buy cards for gas throughout the community because we have kids that's in Hudson that has to come to Adrian for services. So we make sure that we have gas cards and that from gas businesses in each one of the communities within Lenawee County. We try to buy cards that are in all of the different areas for the restaurants. We also noticed that there was a bigger need for some youth just to get school supplies. So different things that we've identified over the 2 years is what made the increments go up. And we started off with just getting food cards. So there is times where you will see a large purchase from either my account, my purchase card, or Tracy, and it's because we buy in bulk. And a lot of times we can't go in Walmart and buy 10 gift cards because it holds up the line, or they make you do one, and it's like, no, we need one purchase. So sometimes we have to do those online. And then there's times that like I'm able to run into Lowe's and buy a bunch of them at one time. And so you may see that that happens, but on average, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 350 cards that we gave out last calendar year for various things. And as I said, the probation officer sees fit to give that card however they feel. They come to me on a weekly basis. They show me like their schedule, how many kids they're seeing, what their thoughts are. They get cards that way. The cards are locked in my office. There's like 4 different keys that you have to get through. I had to show Dan how we're tracking them. We've been tracking those cards from day one because I'm a true fan of internal controls. I want to make sure that, you know, at no time would my staff be blamed for anything, any wrongdoing. So I've taken that initiative to put internal controls in that covers all of us. And I think that having many conversations and meeting with Dan and Paul, I think that we have that pretty much good because there was never a policy on how we were supposed to do it. But just to reassure this board, we put those internal controls in place from the very beginning. So every card that we have given out, there is record of it. At one point, Dan suggested that we figure out a way to track recidivism per card, and that's just kind of hard to do. And to be honest with you, none of us have the capacity to do that. What we can do is continue to share the testimonials, and I brought my staff today because there was just so many different stories that touched them and ways that they were able to help a kid rebuild trust with family just by showing them that we care and that we're not a system out to get them. So at this time, I would like for them to kind of share a story, if you don't mind.
Love to.
When do we want to go first?
You want me to go first? You want me to go?
Somebody go.
I have lots of examples with these, some that are very small. Just the families that I have a kid that tells me, you know, we're struggling at home. We don't have much food. Dad just had surgery. Mom's not working. I don't just throw cards at them though. So I need to see the consistency in order for them to get the reward, even though it does seem like a small reward sometimes. But I have definitely noticed that it's deterred a lot of drug use. They're extremely motivated for somebody to say, like, I'm so proud of you. You've been clean for the last 2 weeks. Our oral drug screens that we utilize have a smaller window. So it's a 4 to 5 day window. So it kind of allows me to see levels to not only whether they're positive or negative, but whether those levels are decreasing and I can see that their use has decreased, or allows me to be able to check on them more than say that 30-day window. So that has been something that I think a lot of the youth that we see don't necessarily get told they're doing a good job often. So I've noticed alone on mine that it allows them to build the rapport with me, trust me, think that I actually care about their health or well-being, whether that's providing food or giving them the $20 Kohl's card to get a hat and gloves, things that they're already without. One of the biggest ones for me is a juvenile girl that just turned 15. She's been in the system since she was 10 on formal probation. We don't have much sight of potentially getting off. It's a bad family home environment. We had a lot of issues with her getting to her counseling. Lots of trauma that she's been through. Intensive counseling is a requirement for this girl if there's any chance at trying to deter her from being detained. They live sort of by the old Comstock School, the Adrian Adult Education Building now. And her counseling was twice a week at CMH, regardless of the weather. Mom was making her walk there at 13 years old. Well, then mom would call me screaming, saying she's refusing to walk across town. She doesn't want to go. It's 20 degrees out and snowing and raining. And once I started to be able to give mom those gas cards, some of those phone calls were eliminated. But before that happened, they would then get physically aggressive with each other. So then domestic violence would be something and charges would rack up. And that's what most of our police were called. And then the child, then we're back in court again and we're getting detained. And so something like that, as the daughter is fighting with mom, I don't want to walk an hour and 20 minutes across town. And I can give them one $25 gas card a month and mom feel that's sufficient to get her back and forth to her appointments. So I've noticed an improvement. Her counselor says that progress is being made. So I don't have any new charges on her. So if that's as far as like tracking the recidivism, now I'm not saying she's perfect. We're still having some up and down issues for sure. But to be able to just help them with a gas card and see how that individual counseling service is making an impact, is, I think, one of my biggest, positives about the gift card incentive. So.
Yes, and I've seen a lot of positives as well. Not only, refraining the kids from doing drugs, but keeping them in school. A lot of our kids, their parents aren't as supportive, or their parent aren't as supportive, and we can tell them all we want, hey, you got to go to school, you got to do your assignments, but when they don't have that reinforcement at home, it's a struggle. And so, telling kids, every week of school you go, all of your assignments you complete, the 50 missing assignments, complete those. And it's a great incentive to be like, I can give you a gift card for that. Right now I have a girl who just hasn't been doing her online schoolwork. And I was like, for every, 15 hours a week that you complete, you can work towards getting gift cards as long as there's consistency. And she was like, oh, okay. And so that was a huge thing for getting her to do schoolwork. This week I had a kid come in and he was with mom, and dad's been in the hospital. Mom hasn't been able to work, and they're telling me how they don't know how they're going to get to the hospital. And I was like, well, you're getting ready to be off probation. I can give you the gas gift cards to go see your dad. And I mean, that was just helpful. And like she said, it builds the rapport. I did want to also reiterate that we track them all. So not only does Dion track them, but when we get gift cards, we all take notes of all the gift cards we have, and we have a running list. And so when we give the gift cards, we send her email weekly, if not in real time. And then we also track them on our note-taking system, which is Youth Center. So they're also, tracked in multiple different ways. But they are really helpful. We've had kids go to campus. I had a kid go to campus, I think in August, and he was living in a basement. Mom's friend's house, mom's MIA, and he needed clothes, all sorts of clothes. And so the gift cards were helpful with that, because the campus can only do so much. It's just a lot of things like that where kids just don't have much.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in today. I mean, it gives us great comfort. I mean, as you can imagine, we sit here and we see these things listed there for 10 or 20 cards, and we're saying, what's the assurance to make sure that they're being utilized, and what's the results? Those are great stories that you're telling us. I never realized that side of it. I wouldn't have thought about that, like, I don't want to walk in the rain and the snow and 20-degree weather, and, we don't have money for gas to drive me over there. So they're all great stories, and I think it gives us a great deal of comfort, Commissioner, as we go through these, knowing that you not only have a checks and balances, but there's reasons for doing it, and you're getting good results with those reasons. So any other questions or comments?
No, I would add, as I shared with the ladies before we started, I don't think we were questioning the validity of the program, but like Jim said, you see 12 journal entries in a row, all for gift cards. That's an obvious thing that we have to look at here. Now, I will say I've been here for a year and we've not found a single example of fraud anywhere
Right.
in any of this stuff, but we weren't questioning the nature of what you were doing. A couple questions. What's the typical amount per card when you give somebody a card? Is it $15, $30?
Most of the ones that we receive, like if they're food cards, they're $10 or $15. The gas cards are more 20 or 25. And a Kohl's card may be like 25 or 50.
But
So
the different increments, and there's not a lot of $10 cards anymore because the companies are raising those.
Yeah.
So I think when we started this, there used to be $10 cards, or when we can get lucky to find the packs that have like the 4-packs, then, those go a little bit longer. However, most of the food cards are anywhere between $15 to $20. Gas cards are $25 to $50. depending on where the youth lives
Mm.
is the determination, as well as to the incentive that they're getting, is where the team gets to use their discretion. Most of the gift cards for the stores are either $25 to $50. They don't really sell increments lower than that.
Mhm.
And then, there's like some cards that they're like variety. So you'll see some that says all for one, on the register, receipt. And those have like multiple places that they could use the card. It's not like a Visa gift card, but you could use it at like Ulta or Kohl's or, different places. And a lot of the kids like those because they can download it to their phone and use it as payment that way. But the juvenile probation officers they get to make that determination. So sometimes they may give, on average, what I'm noticing is that it's right about $40 is what most of them are giving because they're giving like two cards, maybe a $10 McDonald card and a $15 this card or two $15 cards. I think most of the movie theater ones are $15 or $20. And the kid, it's just unbelievable how much the kids enjoy that and actually come and they have nothing but nice things to say about my POs because oftentimes I may talk to the families just, in passing, just to make sure that they feel respected and they feel heard. And oftentimes when I say, what don't you like about Miss Sarabia? Well, I really can't say there's nothing I don't like about her. She's mean, but she's fair. Or I know she cares.
Right.
So as a administrator hearing that, I know that they're building rapport, they're using good judgment. And there's times they may come to me and say, hey, like for instance, Sarah, when she had the kid that needed more. And there's times where they come to me and say, hey, this kid is like couch surfing, he's homeless. He did graduate, he's gonna earn release. Then they get more when they earn release, depending on what their circumstances are.
Sure.
We had a young man that one of the other probation officers had basically seen to the end of probation, and then he went off to like an independent living home, and he needed stuff. So you'll see those increments change, but that's why, depending on the case-by-case scenario.
I used to do youth ministry work when I was in college to housing projects. And you're right, a thing that would seem like a small benefit to maybe you or me is huge for many of these young people. So no, I certainly appreciate the mechanism and appreciate you taking the time to share this with us.
And, I think on the opposite side, just sitting in here today, learning how you guys do this, it makes more sense now to me as the administrator, because in the 3 years, we've never really had this conversation. So just to see how you guys go through each budget and each payroll cycle or pay period cycle, AP, it makes more sense to me now. Because it's not just, oh, what juvenile court up to again? Like, like it makes more sense to me.
You're not the only one that's had that experience with us.
Those mean old commissioners over there,
I know, but I mean, it does. I think it allows us to have a better understanding of your position and the why.
We literally only see this. That's all we know.
And that would make sense because like, what if you buy from Lowe's, Dion? Like,
You know,
I would question me too.
of course.
Again, I just want to say quickly, and then we may try to quietly escape, but again, what Deanne said about that training, we all looked at each other and I think us specifically laughed when the other counties, surrounding counties at that training said we're giving them incentive gift cards, and we did almost mock it. We didn't think there was any way that this would be helpful. And then, like Deanne said, we started off slow. And again, not every kid on my caseload has received a gift card before. They don't always get them just for doing good. Like they may be kind of dangled, and when you come see me in 2 weeks, if this continues, maybe. But now, I hope that we're saving money on the flip side, that we don't necessarily see with public defender costs and utilizing those resources. But I'm still trying to keep job security, so.
there you go. Any other question? Administrator Murphy.
I don't have a question, just more of a comment. First off, thank you for coming here today. Thank you for telling the stories, and thank you for talking about administratively how you're handling that. I think that as Commissioner Marta showed you, they get a piece of paper that has a whole bunch of lines on it, but before they get that, it's hitting finance and it's hitting my desk, and sometimes it's hitting Miss Elliott's desk. And that's why sometimes you hear us pushing back. It's like, what is going on here? What is going on here? And so hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the reason that we're pushing back and asking questions is so that we have those answers, because we don't always have the department here to answer what's going on. So we have to be prepared when they say, well, page 2, line item such says this, what is that all about?
At Lowe's.
That we actually are able to answer those questions. So that's why a lot of times we're calling and we're asking, because we know that maybe that's a one-off type expenditure, it's an unusual expenditure. Or in this, it's a relatively newer concept with the gift cards. And being someone who's not in the mix of what you guys are doing, and trying to assist these young people into better behaviors and to become, better individuals in the long run. We don't see that. We see the financial side. And so it's good to have that flip side, that more human, that more, what's happening with these gift cards so that we can explain it when we are asked. So thank you for coming over today and explaining all of that.
Yes, that's what we're doing especially at Lowe's, because those are the biggest ones, and that's pretty much the only purchase on my card, except for when I have staff going to conferences. But I definitely have a better understanding of that. And yeah, last month we purchased a lot more to get us through the new year, just so that way we wouldn't be at the end of year trying to reconcile those expenses and to make sure that we had all of our stuff in real time. So we didn't get those emails from Matt with his jingles.
Well, this came up in another context with another department too, and, you ladies maybe have to give an account to Dion, who then has to go to next level, to Dan, to Matt, to Kim, to Shannon, then to us, but then Jim and I have to give an account to the public. And I was at a meeting Tuesday at Blissfield Township, and somebody wanted to bring up how much money we spent on elevator repairs 4 or 5 years ago. So these charts are available online and people can find this stuff and they're asking questions. So we all give an account in the end. So nobody's singling anybody out.
Well, thank you again. I think you give us full comfort level with the program, but also on behalf of your Board of Commissioners and county government, we want to say thank you for all you do for the courts
Absolutely.
and for county government. Not just the gift cards, overall, the whole job. I know there's some pretty thankless times over there with some of the situations you have to go through. So we really do, the Board of Commissioners really do recognize that and appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I do invite all of you to come to juvenile court and see the
Decoration.
halls that's being decked, just to make my team happy, because they definitely deck the halls. And if you can guess all of the elves, we'll get you a gift on my own dime.
Oh, well, Jim and I will come and put our man's touch on the whole thing.
Thank you guys for having
Like
me.
we did here, right?
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
Is there any other business to be brought before the accounts payable? Is there any public comment? No public here. If not, motion to adjourn would be in order.
So move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Administrator Murphy. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very